Hey everyone, and welcome back to the 49ers Golden Ticket. My name is Gabriel, and today we are going to use our quarterback play-by-playback to recap that Week 8 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. And that's going to lead us into our bye week, where we're going to take a look at the 49ers' health coming out of the bye week, maybe look at some self-reflection and adjustments that the 49ers can make during that time, which of course leads us into the trade deadline where the Niners did make a move, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. Of course, did the real Jimmy G stand up last week though? Or was that the Christian McCaffrey effect? Stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome to the quarterback play-by-playback. This is where we take a look at the game from the quarterback position while still highlighting some of the big plays throughout the game. Of course, this is a section that we are improving on weekly with your guys' comments and suggestions. So if you do have more, please don't be afraid to let it out. We're excited to hear it. But here it is, guys, the 49ers victory over the Rams.
After the 49ers defense forces a 3-and-out, Garoppolo short left to Wilson for 9 yards. Garoppolo play fakes to McCaffrey, then short left out of the backfield back to McCaffrey for 11 yards. With good pass protection, Garoppolo incomplete deep middle to Ray McCloud. On 3rd and 9, Garoppolo incomplete short middle to George Kittle. Rams force the punt. After putting together a 17-play, 88-yard drive, the Rams are on the goal line. Stafford rushes it in for a 1-yard touchdown. Extra point is good. Rams up 7-0. After a false start by Trent Williams on 1st down, Garoppolo short left to Kittle for 9 yards. Kittle 13 yards after the catch. On 3rd and 7, Garoppolo short left to McCaffrey for 9 yards. McCaffrey 6 yards after the catch. Garoppolo short left to Kittle for 23 yards. Kittle 9 yards after the catch. Garoppolo pitches it back to Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey fakes the run, throws it deep right to Brandon Ayuk for a 34-yard touchdown. Extra point is good. Tie game 7-7. After a 9-play, 75-yard drive, Stafford deep middle to Cooper Kupp for a 16-yard touchdown. Extra point is good. Rams up 14-7. Garoppolo short left to McCaffrey for -5 yards. Penalty on San Francisco's Aaron Banks declined. Garoppolo short middle to Ray McCloud for 11 yards. Penalty on LA's Taylor Rapp, unnecessary roughness, additional 15 yards. Garoppolo short left to McCaffrey for 6 yards. Garoppolo sacked for -4 yards. McGlinchey beaten on the play. Garoppolo short left to Brandon Ayuk for 12 yards. Ayuk 11 yards after the catch. 3rd and 2, Garoppolo up the middle for 3 yards. Garoppolo sacked for -4 yards. McGlinchey blocked the wrong guy. On 3rd and goal, Garoppolo incomplete short middle to McCaffrey. McCaffrey pass dropped. 49ers settle for 3. Robbie Gould with a 29-yard field goal. Rams up 14-10. Big play alert. First play of the second half, McCaffrey to the left for 25 yards. Garoppolo, incomplete, short middle to George Kittle, almost picked off by Jalen Ramsey. On 3rd and 9, Garoppolo sacked for -4 yards. Spencer Burford beat on the play. Wishnowski with another great punt, pinning the Rams at their own 10. 49ers defense forces the punt. Garoppolo, short left to Croft for 6 yards. Garoppolo fakes it to McCaffrey, short middle to Ayuk for 11 yards. Play needs to be highlighted. McCaffrey to the left end for 3 yards. He fumbles and it's recovered by Ray McCloud. Still 49ers ball. Garoppolo, nice time in the pocket, short middle to McCaffrey for 14 yards. McCaffrey 12 yards after the catch. Garoppolo, short right to Wilson for 12 yards. Wilson, 7 yards after the catch. Garoppolo, short left to Brandon Ayuk for 11 yards. Garoppolo, short left to Ayuk for 8 yards, down to the 9-yard line. Garoppolo, short right for 9 yards, touchdown, Christian McCaffrey. Extra point is good. Niners up 17-14. 49ers on their way to forcing a 3-and-out, sack by Fred Warner. for -9 yards. Garoppolo, short right to McCaffrey for 7 yards, penalty on LA, an additional 15 yards. Garoppolo, short left to Ayuk for 5 yards. Garoppolo, quick screen right to McCaffrey for 4 yards. McCaffrey, with great vision and patience, bursts up the middle for a 24-yard run down to the 1-yard line. McCaffrey breaks through up the middle for a 1-yard touchdown. Robbie Gould, extra point good, 49ers lead, 24-14. After the 49ers defense forces a punt, Garoppolo, deep left to Ross Dwelley for a 56-yard gain. Garoppolo on third down, rolls out left, throws a beauty to George Kittle for a 7-yard touchdown. Robbie Gould puts through another extra point, 49ers up, 31-14. On their way to another 3-and-out, Stafford sacked by Nick Bosa for -11 yards. 49ers eating clock on their way to their own 3-and-out after running the ball 3 times. Wisnowski punts another beauty down to the 9-yard line. Rams take a knee to end the game. 49ers win, 31-14.
And that's going to wrap up our 31-14 recap over the Los Angeles Rams in Week 8. I do want to say just a couple of things, though, before moving on, that the Rams are just not good this year. They have injuries along their offensive line. Their quarterback appears to be injured, and their only playmaker also appears to be injured. Plus, the 49ers' Jimmy Garoppolo is 8-0 against the division rival Rams during the regular season. His one loss, though, coming last year in the playoffs in the NFC Championship that propelled the Rams into the Super Bowl, and then, of course, their Super Bowl victory. But that should have been the Niners. And I think we all agree with that, especially seeing how terrible the Rams are playing this year. Unfortunately, we can't rewrite history. Also, did Shanahan rub Christian McCaffrey in Sean McVay's face? There's rumors that the Rams and the 49ers were the last 2 teams interested in Christian McCaffrey. And then, of course, versus the Rams this week, McCaffrey goes and has himself a triple crown. He throws for a touchdown, catches for a touchdown, and then, of course, he ran for a touchdown. Now, I don't know if the 49ers bye week is coming at the right time or not, but this is definitely a good opportunity for the 49ers to get healthy. They have a long list of players that they are expecting back after the bye week. Let me go over some of those names. We got Eric Armstead. He's coming off of plantar fasciitis. Now, consecutively, for 15 games, he has held opposing rushers under 100 yards. The past few games, minus the Rams game, the 49ers have gotten gashed up the middle, and Eric Armstead returning will be a huge reason that the 49ers defense takes another step forward. Also coming back, Jason Verrett. We're hoping to get him back on the outside to play opposite of big free agent acquisition Mooney Ward, because Emmanuel Mosley went down earlier in the season with an ACL injury, and he's done for the year. The defense took a huge step back when they lost another quality cornerback. So getting Jason Verrett back to step into the role that Emmanuel Mosley was playing will be huge for this defense. Also, Elijah Mitchell. Now, last time Elijah Mitchell was playing, he was the bona fide starter for this team. But since then, the 49ers have traded for Christian McCaffrey, and we just expect Mitchell to sort of back up CMC. But he is a 4.2 speed rusher. So the speed that Elijah Mitchell brings to this backfield is massive, and he could be the lightning to the thunder, or the thunder to the lightning, whichever one CMC wants to be. Maybe Mitchell can be the other. Also coming back, Dre Greenlaw, one of the best linebackers in football. Now, I got to give Fred Warner his flowers. He has been lighting it up, proving that he is the best linebacker in football. Greenlaw plays very, very well, and even sometimes plays better than Warner, but consistently he is not better than Fred Warner. But Dre Greenlaw will be a huge acquisition back into this defense. I believe he's the leading tackler for the 49ers. And then also in that linebacking core, we should be getting back Azeez Al-Shaair. So we are no longer down to our 4th and 5th string linebackers. More players coming back: Jordan Willis, Juwan Jennings. Just a couple of role pieces on this team that do make a difference. Willis was a trade from the Jets a couple years ago, has absolutely developed into a great defensive lineman, and he can go get the quarterback. Jennings is obviously our most dependable 3rd down wide receiver. Jimmy loves throwing to him in clutch situations, and Jennings is a gamer. He comes down with those. Also coming back would be Kyle Juszczyk. Putting him in the backfield again with Christian McCaffrey will be huge. Juszczyk broke his finger in the game against the Chiefs, and he did play through it, but since then he's had to get surgery on that finger, and he's also expected back after the bye week. He'll be a huge improvement to our run game, as well as a gadget player for our offense and a potential outlet for Jimmy Garoppolo. Speaking of outlets for Jimmy G, we are also expecting back Deebo Samuel, who is the #1 playmaker on this team, or at least he has been. Now that we have Christian McCaffrey, I'm curious to see how that ball gets divided up. And he is potentially going to take a lot of touches away from Deebo Samuel. I'm very much looking forward to having the 49ers #1 playmaker back into the lineup. CMC or Deebo, who's the defense going to cue in on? Who's Kyle going to give the ball to? And that leads us into the self-reflection portion of the bye week. I think that the coaches need to take the time to be honest with themselves and get better at adjustments, clock management, personnel decisions. Along with time management issues, we do struggle with halftime adjustments. Now, it looks like we made some pretty good ones against the Rams this last game, but can we do that consistently? The 49ers have always owned the Rams. So are they able to do it against opponents they don't know very well? The halftime adjustments will be crucial for this team. Even Kurt Warner had pointed out that the 49ers, although Kyle Shanahan is a great schemer, do have faults. There was multiple instances where Garoppolo would take a free rusher coming at him, nobody blocking him, and there's no what's known as a hot route for him to go to. Kurt Warner broke it down brilliantly on his QB Confidential channel, where there's a free rusher coming, so you need to face the free rusher as a quarterback and then get rid of the ball. But multiple times you would see the free rusher coming and none of the outlets would be open or even prepared for a quick pass. And that's something that needs to be built into the offense, and the receivers and backs and tight ends, they all need to be more aware of what the defense is doing so they can be outlets for Jimmy Garoppolo in those crucial situations. I'd also like to see the 49ers mess around with their personnel a little bit. Namely on defense, I don't like Jimmy Ward playing out of position. He's a captain and a leader on this team, and from his interviews, he clearly looks unhappy playing out of position. I do understand that Deshaun Gibson is playing very well, and I expect the 49ers to get exotic with their combo coverages. However, sticking Jimmy Ward and keeping him only at nickel, which basically means that he's covering the slot receiver, I don't think is his best position. He's a great safety. He's a Pro Bowl safety. You paid him to be your #1 safety. What's happening, guys? So that's just something I would look at, because you don't want your captains to be unhappy. Also, this bye week, the trade deadline. Now, the trade deadline has come and gone, and the 49ers got rid of Jeff Wilson Jr. Whoa! The 49ers did, I think, make a smart business decision. Jeff Wilson is originally an undrafted player, and the 49ers developed him and then got a 5th-round pick for him in a contract year, meaning they don't have to pay him anymore, and they got something in return. So that was a great business decision. I know it hurts the feelings of a lot of fans, coaches. Even John Lynch went on to speak the human that Jeff Wilson is, and it was a tough loss. But for the team and the business, I think it was a great decision. Other moves that might have affected the 49ers, the Eagles acquired pass rusher Robert Quinn from the Chicago Bears. Quinn had 18.5 sacks last year. And the reason this affects the 49ers is so far this year, the Eagles are undefeated and easily atop the NFC. So that's going to be our competition and in our way, on the way to a Super Bowl. Speaking of the 5th-round draft pick that we got for Jeff Wilson, the 49ers have a total of 9 picks next year. Let me just go over this real quick. We have 2 picks in the 3rd round, both of them compensation picks. So those will be at the end of the 3rd round. We have 3 picks in round 5. One's a comp, one from Miami, and one's ours. We have 1 round 6 compensation pick, and then 3 round 7 picks. One's a comp, one's ours, and one's from Denver. The 49ers have been successful in the later rounds mostly. Players like Kittle, who's a 5th rounder, DJ Reed, 5th rounder, Dre Greenlaw, 5th rounder, Diamador Lenore, 5th rounder, Talanoa Hufanga, 5th rounder, Jalen Moore, 5th rounder, Samuel Womack, 5th rounder, DJ Jones, 6th rounder, Justin School, 6th rounder, Charlie Warner, 6th rounder, Elijah Mitchell, 6th rounder. See where I'm going with this? The 49ers have found success in the later rounds. So it's okay that they don't have a first, a second, but they do have multiple thirds, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. And that's where the 49ers have really hit the most. Now, I looked ahead at their roster next season, and it looks like they only have about 36 players under contract. Now, the 49ers are required to have 53 on game day. All teams are required to have 53 on game day. So that leaves room for 17 more players with 9 draft picks and then undrafted free agents and potential more free agents coming in. The 49ers should be able to fill those needs easily, but we don't have the cap space to go get a big time player. As of now, the 49ers only have about $6 million in cap space next year, and that should be about enough for our draft class and some undrafted free agents to finish out the roster. Anything over that is going to be a luxury because we don't have the cap space. The Niners, of course, can do moves like extend a player or restructure another player's contract, things of that nature. But as it stands now, the 49ers will look to draft many players in the later rounds, so that keeps their cap number lower and fill out the rest of that roster. I also just want to note that the 49ers seem to only have about 3 holes next year in the starting team. We have one at safety because I'm not so sure Jimmy Ward's coming back. Deshaun Gibson's on a 1-year deal. We have right tackle, where McGlinchey right now is struggling, so I'm not so sure we're bringing him back. And then, in my opinion, at center, they might re-sign Jake Brendel because he has been improving week to week, but he's still not my favorite center, and I think that the Niners can use an upgrade there. But those are the 3 starting positions along this team, and that's it. The 49ers are ready. Did the real Jimmy Garoppolo stand up finally? I mean, he has been playing better and better and better every week, and right now, he might be playing the best ball I've ever seen him play on this team. It's compared to the 2017 run when he showed up at the end of the year and really turned this team around with 5 straight wins. However, he is improving. His knowledge of the offense is evident, but things like what Kurt Warner said could help him take his game to another step. Garoppolo right now does have a 100.7 QBR, which is 7th in the NFL. 7th in the NFL. He's a top 10 quarterback right now, guys. That is enough to get the 49ers to a Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo also seems to be more communicative with the media, his coaches, fans. He's opening up. We're seeing more of his personality. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of what's happening. Jimmy Garoppolo came from that New England system and the New England way where they didn't talk at all to the media, to fans, because they kept everything inside the building and they always kept the answers very, very vanilla, where they maybe tell you a lot without telling you anything. You know what I mean? And Jimmy Garoppolo was really good at that. But this year, that's not the case. Jimmy is telling it like it is, and it's so much fun to watch, as well as we are learning so much more about this team week to week, about the coaching staff, the players, what Jimmy likes, what Jimmy doesn't like. And I think that this is a great, great thing for the 49ers, because as the year continues, he will continue to progress and his opinions will continue to come out, allowing him and Shanahan to get on the same page more consistently. And I think that's what's best for the 49ers. Unfortunately, though, when the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl, and if they win, then what do we do with Garoppolo? Do we re-sign him? And that is a big question, because honestly, I'm a huge Trey Lance fan, but Jimmy G is really, really making this a difficult decision. If Jimmy does decide to move on from the Niners, or the Niners decide to move on from him, where could he go? Could he take over for Tom Brady in Tampa? That, in my opinion, would be the most logical step for him, unless he wants to go back to New England, who does currently have Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi, 2 young quarterbacks that they drafted and have invested in, but they might want the golden child back. Jimmy Garoppolo was supposed to take over for Brady way back when, before he came to the Niners. Or is this all an effect of CMC? I mean, Christian McCaffrey has been a savior, it seems. I don't want to say the full-on savior, because that was kind of Jimmy back in 2017, but at the same time, Jimmy's completion percentage shot up to 84%. Now, that's the best completion percentage since the 1997 Steve Young. That's many, many moons ago. And Jimmy Garoppolo is the first quarterback to do that since '97. So let's give him some credit there. But creating the outlets that Christian McCaffrey did helped his completion percentage. And I'm thinking that after watching that QB Confidential with Kurt Warner and Kyle Shanahan going into the bye week, he might be able to incorporate some of those hot routes within some of Christian McCaffrey's role, creating easier throws for Jimmy. So it's not always take a sack or throw it away. He needs more options than that. The 49ers do seem to be moving away from being a running team a little bit. That might change when we play more powerhouse teams like the Kansas City Chiefs again, or maybe even in a couple of weeks when we play the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are another really, really good team, and I expect the 49ers to want to run the ball more in those games so they can limit the amount of offensive possessions that their opponents will have. But the 49ers do seem to have the firepower to keep up with any of those teams. So I'm curious to see what Kyle Shanahan starts doing. We've all been complaining that we haven't seen that Atlanta offense here in San Francisco. In fact, that Atlanta offense was the #1 offense, and Matt Ryan was the NFL MVP at that time. And then Kyle Shanahan comes to San Francisco, and the offense has just not been good. In fact, it's been ranked either middle or lower end of the NFL, and it's actually been our defense that's carried this team. No more excuses, Kyle. You have every great weapon you could want. A lot of positionless football. All those guys are very interchangeable between each other's positions, and that'll create tons of mismatches. Kyle Shanahan, you are the genius who's going to get this done for us. I mean, after all, we might have saw it all a little bit anyways with Christian McCaffrey's triple crown. He threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and he caught a touchdown. The first player since LaDainian Tomlinson in 2007, I want to say. So what a huge feat for him. Congratulations, kid. And we're all glad you're a 49er. And that's going to wrap it up for us here at the 49ers Golden Ticket. I really appreciated you guys' time today. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment either here or over at 49ers GT on Twitter. If you haven't already and you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe to the video as it helps us bring you more quality content. And as always, go Niners.